High on the cliffs where the sea clawed endlessly at stone, there stood a weather-beaten chapel known as St. Maro's Light. It had long since lost its bell, its roof patched with driftwood and rusted tin. Yet still the villagers of Coldspire lit candles there each night, for they believed the chapel kept the sea calm. Long ago, so the elders said, a shipwrecked sailor had dragged himself ashore at that very spot. He built the chapel as thanks for his survival, and from that day onward, storms seemed to shy from the cliffs. Sailors swore they saw a pale flame burning atop the chapel during tempests, guiding ships to safety. But on one autumn evening, the flame failed to appear. A fishing boat, the Maribel, never returned, and the sea delivered nothing but splintered timbers to the beach. The villagers grew restless, their prayers heavier with fear. Some whispered that the sailor's promise had been broken, that the chapel's protection was waning. Among them was Ansel, a quiet stonemason whose father had sailed aboard the Maribel. He could not accept that faith alone had held the storms at bay. So, one night, lantern in hand, he climbed to St. Maro's Light to seek the truth. Inside, he found the chapel empty, except for a single altar stone carved with deep spirals that seemed to shift in the flicker of flame. As he traced them with his hand, the air thickened with salt. The chapel walls dissolved into mist, and suddenly he stood upon a black sea under a sky without stars. A figure rose from the waves, tall, cloaked in kelp, its eyes glimmering like lanterns beneath the deep. "You keep the light," the figure said, its voice rolling like the tide. "Your ancestors bound me here with faith and flame. But faith grows thin, and your people forget." Ansel trembled but lifted his lantern. "Then bind me instead. Take my vow, and let the light endure." The sea creature regarded him for a long moment. Then it reached out, touching his chest with a hand cold as the abyss. Pain lanced through him, and he collapsed. When he awoke, the chapel stood whole once more, its bell gleaming as though newly cast. From that night on, a fire burned eternally above St. Mary's Light, guiding ships through storms. Yet the villagers noticed that Ansel never came down from the cliffs again. They left offerings at the chapel door, and when the wind rose, some swore they heard a deep voice in the waves, steadying the sea. St. Maro's Light had a new keeper, one who had traded his life for its flame.